Hey, this is Mike, and this is September 17th, about 4:45 in the morning, too early in the morning. And as we saw yesterday, the S&P 500 finished at the lows of the day after being pretty strong up until the FOMC Chairman Powell speech. And then as soon as the speech ended, the market just headed down, 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 finished at the lows of the day down 0.4%, and now in the pre-market we're down another 1%. So it looks like the correction is continuing down on its next wave. You look at gold yesterday, finished kind of on the borderline, a little well, up 0.25%. Gold is down as well. Gold is down almost 1%. So if we have a day where the S&P and gold are down, then that means we could see a bounce on Friday going into expirations. But it does look like, we're in September. September is the worst month of the year for equities. So we may have another drop. However, I'm going to say there's some factors that I believe that this drop will really only last for about a couple of weeks. And that is one, we have the election coming up on November 3rd, and Trump is going to try to do everything he can to boost the stock market up until November because he's obsessed with believing that the stock market is going to equal his chances for reelection. And that's true to a certain extent. 87% of stocks are owned essentially by rich people. And, it's when rich people start losing money, that's when you see some real change because rich people basically donate to presidential campaigns. And if rich people feel like Trump can't lift the stock market, they're not going to support him with donations for reelection. They'll just steer their money towards trying to hold on to the Senate. So I think Trump is going to put as much pressure as he can on Treasury, on the Federal Reserve, on anything he can to boost the stock market. So I think with the stock market will get a lift in October. And also we're going to go into the Santa Claus rally in November and December. So the reason why I'm bringing that up is that now is the good time that we're getting this pullback is to start putting together a buying list of stocks that you want to get. Just a couple of suggestions I have here is ARK. I talk about this a lot. ARK Innovations, they heavily invested in Tesla and other stocks. There were, if you look at this chart, this is a 6-month chart. They've been really leading the way when it came to this recovery. They have dropped a bit because they I think almost half their portfolios in Tesla. However, I think if this is a stock that drops down to, let's say, 88 or 87, you want to go ahead and maybe grab some of this because ARK is going to continue to be, it's actively managed. That means their managers are buying and selling stocks. So they're going to find the most innovative companies and put it into the CTF. And that's going to probably give they're probably going to be a lot better at finding those stocks that are going to outperform than you would be because they have people kind of researching this all day and all night. So they do a lot of work for you. And I think the management fee on this is not that much compared to, if you were to put your money in a hedge fund. Another stock that you're going to want to look at is GameStop. Now, GameStop popped a couple weeks ago because they had a big investor come in and then dropped a little bit and then popped again. And this is because, the PS5 is going to be coming out and Microsoft is going to be coming out with their own new Xbox system. And what happens is, when you get these new systems, people want to buy games. Now, the systems are going to be priced at $499, which is actually pretty reasonable. I think PS4 was at $399. So you get a $499 and the top games will probably be about 60 or 70 bucks. Still, the one thing that GameStop has going for is that people go to GameStop to get their video games. This is one of the areas that Amazon has not completely dominated or has not completely disrupted. And there's something about people love going to the actual GameStop location because you can check out the game and buy other games and then, hand in your games and stuff. So GameStop looks like this is a stock I'm going to be looking at. I'm waiting for this to pull back with the correction. If I could get down to 8, like one thing you might want to consider doing is doing a cash secured put. So you can sell the 8 put. I think it was at the weekly puts at 60 cents. So that means you put up $800 of collateral. You sell the 8 put, you collect $60 or so a week. And when it comes down to 8, you get the stock at 8. So I think that's a pretty good strategy. And then, your Teslas or whatever, the tech stocks are really getting hurt right now. However, if you want to grab Tesla, now's going to be the time because its all-time high was at 500. It's at 441. It may go down to, what was this dip here, 439? Was it 439? Yeah, it may go down to like 435. So you may want to look at grabbing Tesla, and of course the other top plays like Apple. Apple's down hard, but Apple's one of those stocks that you could buy as a tech outperformer, and then just a steady blue chip company. And then of course there's always Amazon, which I predict. I think I talked about in my video yesterday that Amazon's raising their prices on a lot of their products. So I have a feeling they're going to have huge blowout earnings. Now they are going to give back a lot because they've risen so much in the past 6 months, but this is another buying opportunity. And the great thing is if you have Robinhood, you don't need $3,000 to buy a share. You can buy a fractional share. And one thing that you should look at, which I don't talk about too much on this channel because personally I'm not big into cryptocurrencies, but Bitcoin is kind of, it's been in the past 5 days, it's been rising. This could be, if people are looking to get out of the stock market, people may start putting their money back into Bitcoin. It's almost at 11,000. It's been pretty stable, but this could be an issue where if people, are scared of stocks, they may go into Bitcoin. And then finally, I will just talk a little bit about gold and silver because I do think for the long term, over the next 10 years, you may see some outperform, at least in this decade, the 2020s. I think gold and silver are going to outperform the stock market as a whole. Like my guess is that the stock market is going to be a lot like the 2000s, where, I think in the 2000s, the S&P 500 returned an average of like 2% and then ended up flat at the end of the decade. And I think gold at that time was returning on average like 12%. So definitely look at gold. It's at 183.97. Its high was like a 152, was 194. And then also take a look at silver. Silver is a little more volatile because it can suffer when the economy is suffering because the industrial applications of silver. Its 52-week high is 27.39. It's now at 25. It's been at 25 forever. But the thing about silver is one of those stocks that just, it does nothing and then it'll pop 7 or 8%, does nothing or pop 7 or 8%. So this is something gold and silver is something to look at if there is a lot of chaos in the stock market. But I will say my recommendation right now is just to go ahead and just create a buying list. And just to give you an update, I started trading. I picked a heck of a week to start trading this, but weekly put credit spreads. Now my put credit spread, I had a Monday trade that closed out profitable yesterday, and then I opened up the Wednesday trade, which is going to be challenged because I sold the 335 and bought the 332. So it's probably this stock market is down 1% in pre-market. It'll probably be down maybe 2% by the end of the day. So it may be down to 331 or 332. So that's going to be rough for me, but I do predict a recovery Friday, and then who knows what happens next week. I may have to take an L on that Wednesday put credit spread, but that is a system, though, when you're above the 50-day moving average, to have a put credit spread, sell the delta 30s. You do win those 90% of the time. Obviously, we don't have these kind of corrections very often in this S&P 500. Anyway, if you enjoy these updates, I do them every morning before market opens. Go ahead to subscribe and turn on notifications. Okay, thank you. Bye.